My name is Rory Burnett. I'm the CEO of BWD Construction. We're based in Pagosa Springs in Southwest Colorado. Right now, we run about 40 projects at any given time. So this is an exciting one that we're doing. I love our custom homes because there's a lot of creativity that goes into them. 27, almost 2,800 square feet. It's a 3-bed, 5-bath with a total under roof square footage of 3,700 square feet. It's a little bit more modern design, which we don't see a lot of here. And we're doing a very interesting EPDM roof that a lot of people are gonna freak out about because of how much snow we get here. So we took this, we're in a hillside, so we had to have our excavation companies come in, tear down the hill a little bit, build it back up. We put some road base in, we brought in some other fill that was compactable, and we're doing simultaneous septic system alongside running dry utilities and foundation. And we did all that kind of in one swoop. We have a 3-car garage, and then we have a small crawl space because this is a multi-story home so that we can capture the views through the valley here. We have the garage pour completed, and the guys are gonna come roll framing next week so that we can get this dried in before serious snow comes, which is something that we just have to deal with in Colorado. We can't really stop building just because snow comes. So we just have a plan in place to make sure that we mitigate the water and where it goes. And actually we can look at that if you want. Something that we do, because we plan for snow. I mean, you can even see a little snow in the crawl space right now, but we'll put a permeable material in, and specifically in the larger areas, we try to slope it in so that we control where the water goes. And then eventually we'll put in some pumps to actually get it out of the house. The nice thing about where we're at though, is because we're on a hill, it's pretty easy to slough off and make sure that we get the water away, and it's a really nice sun exposure for the front of the house. In Southwest Colorado, because of our winters, we have to have at least a 32-inch frost depth minimum. And so we have to dig down, so we can't do kind of pier and beam style or true slab on grade. You have to have that 32 inches at some area. And so when we're doing these type of pours, even this garage slab, this whole thing has the stem walls on it. So it doesn't matter if we're doing our slab on grade or not, we have to get the frost depth. And then you can see right here, any open space, we have to have a waterproof membrane. And so before the guys backfill, we have to strip it, then we have to waterproof it, then they can backfill after we put French drains and all that. So there's a lot of steps when you're doing things like this. So on all the properties that we build, we have to get a GeoTech report or a soils report. And so sometimes we'll get into properties that the soil is compactable, and all we have to do is bring in, some sort of permeable material to lay over the French drains, and then we can compact the rest. But most of the time we're having to bring in a mix of some sort of compactable material. If you have a crawl space, it has to be conditioned in some form or fashion. So a couple of things that would mean is, one, that it's lined. So right now we don't want to seal this up yet because it's not dried in. Once we have the framing in, so you'll have block framing here to hold walls, block framing here. And so each section will be sealed in plastic, and then we'll actually have radon mitigation systems run through. So those will be dug in, pipes will be embedded, and then those are daylighted out. But condition will be, you have to insulate the floor and basically run your ductwork down below to get air movement so that you don't have mold. And then as the air moves in a conditioned house, you won't have freezing either. When we're doing multi-stories, a lot of times our clients are thinking about this being their last home or resale value. And so we'll build elevators, and that's a planning. We can't just kind of willy-nilly that, throw it in after the fact. Front door's right here. You walk around and then you enter into the elevator here. So we're able to put the equipment down on a pad that's already pre-engineered to handle the weight of the model that we've decided on. Because we're not close enough for tying into our sewer district here, a lot of these big custom homes we're having to do septic. And so we'll go ahead and we'll run conduit right on top of our footer to maintain frost depth. And then we'll run our clean outs here. So this is our first clean out. And then that ties into a septic tank, and then it goes into the field. So these change, the requirements change every couple of years. So part of what we have to do, so my team, I have 3 guys on staff that are trained and certified in septic, and then our excavation contractors that we utilize also have to be up to date, because these change often, especially in Colorado with anything to do with water or sewage. The septic, we get that engineered alongside the house. So the house is done, it's finalized, we go right into septic engineering. And part of that engineer's responsibility is to tell us where best places to put it because of, you know, fall or soils, or there's a couple different requirements. And so septic is pretty easy. When we're doing water and electric, that's where it gets a little tricky. So right here, we have a test valve that comes out. And so this is ready, it's pressurized, we've already tested it so that we can have on-site water during the process. It's run underneath because we want as deep as possible for the water, not only due to if we dig in the future, but also for frost. And electric's pretty easy because now in Colorado, we're required to have an exterior shutoff. And so before, a lot of times we would run it maybe inside the garage. Now we have to do it on the exterior wall for them to have access for emergency shutoffs. The only thing the guys have to plan for excavation and concrete is this guy right here, which is our ground. And so that's the only thing that we have to plan and coordinate, is where is this exterior box going, so that we know where the ground is going to actually be embedded in the concrete. And then we always run, for these kind of more remote jobs, we'll have a frost freeze valve installed. And as you can tell, it's in the open position right now. And so it's not on yet, but we leave it open until we get the water fully on, which is usually when we start framing. So we are complete with the foundation phase. So dry utilities are in, drainage is done, our rough excavation is done to get positive drainage away from the house. And now we're entering into framing stage. So what we'll do next is what's called roll the floor. And so we'll take these I-joists, roll them, get our underframing all done, and then we'll sheet it with our exterior sheeting right here. And then we'll actually go vertical after we roll the floor.